along and on the trail. He's not there now. There's a bunny rabbit. All right, let's see here. Like I said, I got my headphones in. We got YouTube. I think we're rocking and rolling. We're out. We're moving around, everybody. I'm not going to show you where we are yet. We'll keep it a surprise. We got Nick in the house here. Oh, Carla Rinda. Carla's getting in. More and more folks joining us. And I'm finding a spot over here where I'm going to get to go sit down and I'm going to set up the camera. Because before you do any kind of endurance activity, you always want to do a little bit of a warm up, which I've already kind of done some warm up because I came here from my house, but I'm going to do a little more of some warm up exercises like we always do. And then we're going to do our endurance challenge for Friday. And remember, this is going to be also getting ready for tomorrow's race for autism in Balboa Park. So check this out, everybody. There's a picnic table here, and there's just nobody here. Look at beautiful place. And there's the mountains all around, mountains over there. Got these big, great big trees and mountains all around. And of course, on a beautiful day, you have an empty picnic table. How does that happen? So let's see here. We got to get Breathe Motto going. I have some water here, everybody. So let's go ahead and drink some water. And I also have my phone holder. So for just about 10 seconds or so, you're going to see a lot of moving around on my camera. And you know what? I got an idea. How about we do this? Nick, let's go ahead and bring you up. Let's put Nick in the spotlight, everybody. So Nick can kick us off with the breathe motto. Can you do that, Nick? Can you do the breathe motto to get everybody kicked off? And while you're doing the breathe motto,
Yeah,
okay, I will get my phone set up. I'll get it all on the stand.
don't you quit me. Oh, everyone. I'm ready for the wait tomorrow. I didn't wait. Oh, it's finally here. Here we done. Bye, body, two and one, and breathe in the dirt. Breathe out the breathe in the happy, and breathe out the death. And breathe in your bed. And breathe out the wood. And breathe in your power. Do we have a pre and we'll wait for all the down doors, but and now everyone they do our dreaded this moment. They do start to die up and down, you know the way. Do and one died. Do died. Doing down, doing up. Do it. Doing the wellness. Doing ill the other unit, head down, up and down, and up. Now that we put it
Yes.
down, up, head down, unit. Do wellness, do that, up, down, and wait.
Nice
And
job, Nick. Nick, can
one
you hear
more.
me?
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Awesome. Oh, that was great. I haven't figured out how to get my headphones working the right way, but I did figure out how to get my camera set up, and I'm again set up here at this picnic table. So, uh, again, Nick's got us going with the head and neck moving around. There's like little bugs. If you see me doing that, that's what that is. So again, good job from Nick. Head moving around, breathing motto going. Let's get our trapezius going a little bit here too. We'll do kind of an accelerated kind of warm up, and then we'll get ourselves kind of in action. So we're going to go to two places. We'll go for one hike and then we'll do a little bit of a run. And so let's get
Ooh,
those
one.
shoulders going up and down. Let's think about just our shoulders running, maybe. So we have just kind of the shoulders moving forward and backward like that, kind of one going up, one going down in the front, one up, one down, shoulder running. So I'm not really using my arms. I'm really kind of trying to use that idea of bringing forward and backward shoulders, right? We've done that, or even rotation shoulders, but now I'm just kind of going forward and backwards, forward and back. Look at that. Oh, that fly landed on my nose. That was so cool. And then forward and backwards. So moving through the trapezius. Let's get our deltoids going. So let's maybe do a couple chicken wings, bringing it out to the side. I'm gonna move this back a little bit too. I can get a better angle. Look at all that nature. Nice. There we go. So chicken wing and out to the side. Let's do 5 of these. 5, 4, 3. I guess I don't need these. 3, 2, 1. Let's go up in front, bringing them up just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice job. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's go ahead and do, let's just do elbow running. So we're bringing one elbow forward. There you go. One elbow back. Elbow running. So one goes forward, one goes back. And it doesn't matter what our hands are doing. It doesn't matter about the arms. I want you to think about the elbow. And you can see I got my right elbow in the front here. My left elbow is in the back. And then I'm going to bring it out. Now I got my left elbow in the front, my right elbow in the back. And we're just like going back and forth. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Let's have a sip of water. The next one we'll do another kind of run style. But in this time, and this is fun, this was when I learned about some performance running. One of the guys, the way he talked about it is you wanted to bring your hand up like you were maybe trying to like stick your thumb in your nose, and then you were trying to put that in your back pocket. So you can only imagine what he was saying there. So you go up and down from here, and we're going to go up and down now with the whole arm, and the whole body's kind of rotating and moving. And again, you can think about the elbows, or you can think about that hand going right here by my nose and then going right down here by my pocket. So again, right up top, right down low, up top, down low, up top and down low, same time, reciprocating. Let's go 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, keep it going, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that again is thinking about the elbow, but also thinking about the hand, also thinking about the trapezius. So that whole system's going to be working and getting us moving along. All right, the next one we're going to do, let's go ahead and do a hand cycle style. So this would be if you were using a sit down cycle to where you're going to be having the hand cranks as opposed to using your legs. You'd be sitting in an upright position, and you might be supported, or maybe you're even kind of leaning into this on your own. But from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go with both hands going around and around. And so we're going to have 2 hands going around, and then we'll also do one where we're going to alternate, and the hands are going to be in 2 different positions. All right, so let's get ready. 2 hands going around for 20. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nice. 4. There you go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Everybody, Catherine in the house. Oh my gosh, Saraz in the house. We have such a great group in here. I'm so happy to be seeing everybody getting on here. Anesta's in the house. We have a great group. Remember, we're going to be doing our little bit of an outdoor warm up, and then we're going to get into some endurance. And when we're doing our endurance, some of the things because you're not going to go ahead and do the same thing right now and get up and walk out the door and go walk to a lake or go walk and through the meadows, but you're going to get to do that with us here on the workout. And so this way, what I want you to do, as opposed to having to go out, is we're going to be using our imagination, but we're going to be doing movement. So I'll be moving, and you're going to know that because the camera will be moving and the scenery will be changing. and I'll show you how I'm moving along. But I also want you to be moving along too. So some of these things we're doing right now, this can be what you're going to do when we get into that endurance challenge. Remember, the race for autism tomorrow is going to be a 5K. That's 3 miles. We're not going anywhere near 3 miles today. We're going to maybe get a mile, but that's a long distance, everybody. So we're going to make that happen. So let's go with the next one with our hands, and this is going to be alternating. So one's going up while the other one's going down. And let's just worry about going forward right now. So we're just pedaling through, and we're going 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. There you go. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent job. All right, I want to take a look around and see, and I think I got an idea for this one right here. But what I want to do is I want to use this big tree and I want to use this picnic table to do a couple of my warm-up exercises. So I'm going to show you those. And let's try one more time about these Bluetooth. Let's see if we can get them on. Right now I got a lot of, it's kind of neat, everybody. And let's see if, can somebody unmute and say something? Anybody that has that power, all you got to say is hi or anything, and that'll let me know if I can hear. But I don't think it's working with my headset today, and I don't know why, and I don't want to spend all day trying to figure it out. You can hear me, but you could hear me on my phone or my headset. I need to know if I can hear you and if it's coming into here or if it's coming out of there. So that's okay. All right, nice. Carla in the house too. Everybody, the first thing that I'm going to set up and do here is going to be the push-up exercise. So I'm going to move my phone right down here so we can see the picnic table right here. And I'm going to come down just a little bit here, kind of on the side. Now, I like doing push-ups. If you don't have anything to lean against, like a wall or the ground, you could do it on the ground. We're just going to have your arms up and you're just going to be doing kind of a push. All right, so we're going to do that one, and then I kind of want to show a variation. I'm going to do the variation, and it's going to be a push-up, and then I'm going to do a knee lift. And if you want to do that, you can do that. If you're sitting down doing this, you would do a push-up, and then you'd actually do like a drop elbow to knee, and then push up, and then drop your elbow to your knee. And that's where I'm going to be doing is a knee lift. So let's get started on this. This will be fun. I'm going to get in a position right here. I got these flies. I feel like one of the flies are all told they're supposed to fly into my body to try to get like, to the inside of. They probably think I'm like a spaceship or something, or they feel like that's the way that can get me down. So, all right, so push up, and then I'm gonna bring my knee up. So there's one. We'll go to 10. Push up. 2. You could do this on the wall as well. Push up on the countertop. 3. Push up. 4. Push up. 5. Push up. 6. Push up. 7. Push up. 8. Push up. 9. And push up. And 10. Now remember, if you were sitting down with that one, that could be a push and then a knee tap where you're going to kind of lean forward and try to get your elbow to kind of tap on your knee or your quadricep. So, still not sure about the audio. I feel like I'm still on phone audio, but I don't know for sure. And let me know if did the audio change at that point in time? And let me know if the audio changes to right now, because I'm going to move over here by where this big tree is. All right, everybody. Big tree can be great for helping you get your moves in because it's going to be very strong and supportive. That's what we want out of a big tree. Something that'll hold up if we lean on it. If you're doing exercise on, really, okay. If we're doing exercises to where if we're using a smaller tree, you could lean into it and it might just push right over. And so some exercises, not at all something you're going to want to do. But even that push up that we just did, I could have this tree. I could do a push up here, and then I could do a kind of that knee lift, do a push up with a knee lift. And then again, I'm still getting kind of a push pattern. So even if you had a wall, even if you had a strong tree, you could do that. So now what I want to look at doing is just, this is going to be the leg swing. This one, if you're going to be doing, if you're going to be doing any kind of race activity, anything like that, before you go out, you don't just want to show up and then just go right into it, because your muscles will, they won't like going from cold to just fired up and going like that. Your muscles are going, that's why they call it a warm up. So what you want to do with the warm up is you want to provide your muscles with lots of different kind of uh, different scenarios to get the muscles to fire up in lots of kind of different ways, so that when you are in the race and you're kind of doing the one kind of standard way over and over, we have kind of a nice foundation of some different movement and some stability and things like that built in. So the leg swing's a good one. It's a carefree exercise, but there is a little bit of balance. We're going to use the tree to help. And we want to get that leg just swinging. We can even swing the arms too, like you've seen Bernie do, because we want to get that body just kind of nice and flowy. Because when we're running or when we're moving, we want to feel nice and kind of flowy like that as well. So let's go ahead and get on with that leg swing, and I might do an arm swing as well. So right here, I'm just gonna put my hand on the wall. I like to swing my inside leg, and so I'm just gonna swing it up and down, and just bringing it up. Now, if I wanted to swing my arm too, I could swing my opposite arm back and forth. I could swing it up and down. I could swing it across my body. You're gonna find some comfort. I could swing it small. So this is kind of a low swing, and you can see my foot's just off the ground. There is a little bit of tension in my hip here that's allowing this from just to hang loose. Now, if this side's a little lower, I might be able to swing here and hold on to the tree, and I might be able to have a little more relaxation in my hip. And so again, kind of have my hip drop down. Let me get one more audio check. Is it still as loud as always? If so, I feel like when we're on it. I haven't got an audio check, but that's okay. If you can hear me good, that's what's most important. Swinging. All right. Now, if I wanted to switch sides, I could also come over to the other side. All right, great. That's good news. Bring it up here, get a good angle. So again, here, anywhere on this tree, just holding on to it and just giving it a little support. Now, the tree's not doing everything for me. I still have to engage my muscles in my core. I still have to engage some muscles in my hips. But with my arm swinging and my leg swinging, I'm able to kind of lean into the tree, and I'm able to kind of not have to have 100% of my own balance being the balance for this. And that's all you really need, is just that little bit of extra help. Let's go five more. Five, four, three, two, and one. I really like that swing I was doing right there. If you saw, I was doing the same side, and then I was swinging my arm opposite of my leg. So that one's, again, nice at getting my hip loosened up, nice at getting my shoulders loosened up. It keeps the flies away. There's a couple of flies. Maybe that's why nobody was having a picnic right here. Maybe they're going, they can't handle being around the flies. You know who has a lot of flies is people in Alaska. They got a lot of flies. This isn't bad. But they're trying to infiltrate me. I've had multiple flies think that the way to get into me is through my eyes or through my mouth. So they're close. They haven't got in yet. So let's go ahead and have a sip of water, everybody. Let's get ready for take the first part of our little endurance challenge. We'll do a little bit of a mini hike here. All right, now there's going to be two options for you. If you are going to be standing up or sitting down. If you're standing up and you want to move along with me, again, this is going to be a mini hike. It's going to take us a few minutes. So we're going to be doing the exercise for a few minutes. And while we're going, what I would want you to do is work on a high knee and maybe even just a high knee tap. And I'm talking a lot. And you might get to the point where you're just tapping like this, where it's not much. It's not as high a knee tap, but you're still going. You're still pushing along. If you are seated, what I would want you to look at doing is going to be including the elbows And we're going to be going with a 1, 2, just like this. 3, doing a high elbow lift. And I want you to try to get that elbow across kind of your chest line. So you're going to try to get that elbow and you're just kind of cruising along. Nice job. Nice job. That's okay, Bernie. Sounds like she's got a baseball game. All right, so that's what we're going to do for this hike. Let's go ahead, have a sip of water if you need it. Again, if you also wanted to just kind of move and just like march in place, you could do that as well. So I know Nick would be doing something like that potentially, but the march in place would totally be something you could do. And again, this is for endurance. You're going to want to stop, but if you stop, then the camera might stop and then we might not get to see what is ahead of us. So, all right, everybody, here we go. So we're in a really neat place right now. Let's get our bodies and start them moving. So if we're in the seated position, we're going to start, and this is going to be just like every other race. We don't take off running like you might imagine. And, some people are going to do that, but you don't have to do that. So here we go. This is going to be our first kind of adventure, and we're not going to go too fast on this. And check this out, everybody. Oh my gosh, what a neat little place this is. And so I'm not running right now. So don't worry about running in place right now. Right now, I'm walking along. You can see my feet down here. I'm just walking along, moving along. And then this is what is up ahead of us here. And this is a pretty cool place, everybody. If you ever want to come here, you let me know. And we'll come here and check it out together. And you can see we're walking down here, and there's tall, kind of California natural type plants, real hardy plants that they can take a lot of heat. They can take a lot of time without water, but not us, right? No way. We can't take that much time without water or we won't make it. These plants can have no water for longer than we can. But lucky for them, look at that. There's a great big lake right here. And so let's keep on moving, everybody. We're coming down, it looks like, to the end of the path. So this is a concrete path. And oh my gosh, everybody, look at that over here. It looks like there's a teepee, and there is. Who wants to check it out? Does anybody want to check? Let's check it out. This is what going out on an adventure hike is kind of all about. And look at this, everybody. This looks like somebody was maybe getting some wood together, like an ancient fire spot, maybe resting here, having a little bit of fire. And check that out. There's a little spot you could sit right down in there and you'd be out of the elements. And what a cool looking structure this is put together right here. So kind of neat when you get out there and you go moving around and getting on some kind of unknown places. You might run into some things, and look at that. You got one big stick. So can you imagine if you built something like this? Now all these sticks they're heavy, I would imagine. And so think about the muscles that you would have to use, your arms, your grip, your hands grabbing onto the sticks. And carefully, I imagine the first few sticks had to be very carefully placed. And we do exercises like that. Chris Hill's done a lot of stuff like that. I've seen Nick doing it. Me and Bernie, we've done it where we're very particular about how we're working with things. And that's the same kind of example right there. That's pretty cool. Let's keep going, everybody, because is it getting spooky for anybody? I hope it's not getting spooky. But look at this down here. Wow. And you can see we're here. We got the plants all around us. They're taller than me, and I'm 6 feet tall. And check this out. Here we go. And so down here, look at this. This used to be underwater, and these were anchors. Those are some old anchors from the old days when the water used to be up above my head. And oh my gosh, look at this, everybody. We're actually going down a secret path with plants all around us, and everything is blooming. This is why we get out and do endurance stuff. If we would have stopped, at the door and said, no, I don't want to go out today, we never would have got here. And if we would have stopped at the parking lot, we never would have got here. And if we would have stopped at any other point, look at this, everybody. We're coming up to the water's edge. Oh, I feel like I'm back in Louisiana again. Wow. All right, everybody, look at this. Check this out. Wow. There, guys, look, a great big bird just flew off. Turtles just jumped into the water. And look at this, everybody. There's ducks out here, birds flying all around. And because we decided to push ourselves just a little bit more, we were able to find a really cool spot to explore. And again, lots of ducks. We'll look around for a minute, kind of check everything out, and then we'll head back up the trail. And then the next part of our workout, we're going to do a run. And so we'll go back to the picnic table, and then we're going to do a run, and we're going to come back all the way to the park that's at the beginning of the lake. So everybody, this is kind of stuff that, I know when you're out there, you might not think that there's a whole lot of places that are accessible and places that you can get to. But remember, if you communicate with other folks so that you want to go out, you want to do things in nature, you might need a team. You might need to do a little bit of planning, or maybe even go have somebody check someplace out. Say, hey, I want to go on an adventure. I want to go to the beach at this beach. I want to go to the mountains. I want to go out to the desert. I want to go out into the valleys and the outside of town and stuff like that, or maybe somewhere in town. Maybe you want to go explore a downtown, or you want to go explore an old town. You got to communicate that, and then you got to be willing to put in the little bit of extra work that it's going to be. Because look at this right now. Remember when we do the adventure challenge and we're moving through and like we're pushing plants out of the way? Like that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Look, I mean, I'm going under plants, around plants. This is the same thing that we have done with our imagination. Look, here it is again. I got to duck under to get under these plants because they're going over my head. Everybody, these are the moves. That's the body. That's the body circle right there. That's the forward lean or the ground touch. Those are all going to prepare me for that situation. Whereas I might see something blocking my path and say, oh, well, maybe I can't go anymore. But I want you to think, yeah, I can go. I've been training. I can do this. I can go 5 different ways. And so that's what it's all about, is getting adaptive, getting creative. And here we go, everybody. So now we're going up the hill. So now let's do a little bit of a higher knee step. And then let's also, if you're doing the seated high elbow, go for a high elbow. We got a helicopter going overhead, and we're moving back up the path. That's pretty cool, everybody, getting to go down to the lake. All those lake creatures had no idea we were coming. I think we spooked a turtle, and it jumped off the log, went right in the water, and all the birds flew off, and they said, no way, we're not hanging out with this guy. He's a giant. And compared to them, I am a giant. And we don't have anything really. Elephants and giraffes, but we don't have too much. Nothing that's at the scale of what we are to turtles or frogs. We're so big. All right, everybody, we're still pushing along, so keep pushing. Even if you want to stop right now, this is when you don't stop. If I stopped right now, look at where I'd be. I'd just be here, just right here in the middle of the path. And right here is not the place that you want to stop. When you're out on your adventure, you're doing an endurance challenge and you have a goal in mind, you want to keep focused on that goal. Now, that doesn't mean you can't stop and catch your breath, but you want to get moving along, have some water, and get moving along, have a little snack and get moving along. You don't want to think about setting up camp, setting up a tent and all that, because actually it might be a little bit better to push it on along and then rest in some place. Like, look at this now. Here's the picnic table and we're in the shade. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself like, well, I want to get out there, but I don't want to spend too much time in the sunshine. Well, you can think, well, I want to spend a lot of time in the shade. I might go on a quick adventure that's going to be out into the sun, but then I know I got my shade to come back to, and I know I'm not going to stop until I get there. That's part of the endurance. That's part of what makes it a challenge, because at some point in time, your body might just say, hey, you know what? Let's take a break right now. And what you have to think about is, but I'm not at my destination. I'm not where I want to be. For me, that was this picnic table. And so we kept on pushing along. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to do here, can I get a time check? The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go on a run. I'm going to be running. I'm going to be doing breathe motto. I'm going to be not stopping. There's going to be a few times I'm going to want to stop. I'm not going to. I'm going to let everybody know when that's happening. Now, if you're following along with me and you're sitting down, perfect. You're sitting down. I want you to think about going into that locomotion and getting those arms moving and just keeping with that steady pace. So it'd be like a 1, 2. Remember before we were doing a high elbow. So that was with the hike. This is going to be with the run. And this is going to be a tempo. You can find your own tempo. I'll tell you about my tempo when I get my tempo going. And then if you're standing up, you can do a small run in place where you're just kind of running in one spot. And if you're doing that, this is important. I want you to try to do your best to do this. Try to use your tippy toes. All right, your tiptoes. When you're on the ground, coming down on the ground, if you just go with your tiptoe and then let your foot come back up, the other one's coming down. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. You're going to help big time, strengthening up those feet, strengthening up your ankles. If you do it with your whole foot going down, that's okay. And I want you to think about trying to be quick and careful, and almost like you're trying to dip your toe in the water, like trying to dip your toe into some water. All right, let's have a sip of water, everybody. Let's get for it. Okay, so we've had our water. We've had a good warm up. We're going to get my camera kind of set up here so I can run with it, making it like a handle out of the mount. So you're going to see, there we go, a little bit of action like that. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead. We're going to walk just a little bit, and then we're going to give it a countdown when we get up here and we see the path. And we're going to run the whole way, everybody. You're going to want to stop. I'm going to want to stop. But let's think about the race. Let's think about all our friends out there that we're maybe running for, maybe for ourselves. I like to run for my heart because it makes my heart strong. All right, everybody. So we're coming up to the road, and it looks like the path is clear. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to start our run. I'll let you know when we finish it, but there's the lake over there. Remember, we were all the way down there by that water. Literally, we were at the water. There's some of the same birds. They're out there still just flying around. So, all right, let's get ready to run in 5, 4, 3, 2, and here we go. All right. So we're off and running, and you can probably tell the difference because right off the bat, we're moving quicker. And you can see there's my feet, there's my shadow, there's the camera, and we're cruising along and running and breathing. We're not going to stop. We're running, we're breathing, we're not going to stop. What's nice too right now is we have some shade. We also have some wind. So when you can go out and do an adventure or do some endurance where you know it's not going to be too hot. You don't want it to get so hot that you're miserable and not enjoying it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to really enjoy it as much as you might enjoy watching your favorite movie, or maybe you enjoy having like a meal at a certain restaurant that's your favorite. Maybe there's something, favorite food you enjoy, but not everybody will enjoy endurance exercises that go on longer than you want to. I kind of want to stop already. Anybody else want to stop? I thought so. Let's keep going. No stopping. Here we go. Great job, everybody. Keep it moving. Keep on breathing. Here we go. Got to go up a little hill right here. Gonna push down, gonna lean into it. Work it up that hill. There we go. Nice job, everybody. Let's do a breathing bottom. Let's get focused on our breathing. Here we go. Breathe in the good. Breathe out the bad. Breathe in the happy. Breathe out the sad. Breathe in your best. Breathe out the worst. Breathe in your power. So reach your goals first. Woo! Good job, everybody. We're pushing along. We're getting to the point where we're now, probably no matter who you are, including me, you're probably thinking, or your body's thinking, it's about time to stop. You can go ahead and stop. That's what it's saying. We're not going to do it. But the body's just saying, hey, go ahead and quit. Go ahead and stop. But we don't know why. Why does my body feel that way? A lot of times your body's feeling that way because we need to breathe. So let's focus on some breathing. And you're going to hear kind of how I breathe as I'm getting lower on energy. And then I'm having to rebuild my energy up while I'm still moving. Here we go. So that's how I breathe sometimes when I'm trying to catch my breath. And you might have heard earlier, I was a little more out of breath. I just did about 10 of those really concentrated breathings where I was focusing on my exhale. Could you hear me? I was blowing out all that air, all that carbon dioxide, and I was letting my body make a whole lot of room for oxygen. That oxygen gets in, goes to my muscles, and now I'm recovered. Not totally recovered, but I feel better. And that's the key, is taking a kind of an assessment of your energy and then using your breathing. Oh, look at this, everybody. We're going down through like a little creek. Oh, check it out. A little creek. We're going to run. Oh, there's a butterfly shadow running right there with our shadow. Or flying next to us. Butterfly shadow. That's incredible. All right, everybody. And you'd think like, yeah, we're done. But no, we're not. And that's the endurance challenge. That's the best part about endurance. Is a lot of times, and you might even have this happen on your own, where you're thinking like, I'm going to walk around my apartment complex. And you're like, I'm going to go one time. And you go one time. And when you get done, you think to yourself, I think I maybe should do two. Well, if that's what you think, then that's what you should do. You might think to yourself, well, maybe I could get 5 down. Well, you should try. Because every time you might think like, I'm going to stop when I get to that tree, and then you get to that tree and you don't stop. You go to the next tree. Every little bit of work from this tree to that tree means so much more because that's where I wanted to stop. But now I'm going to go to this one. But then maybe we'll go to the next one. And maybe we'll keep pushing ourselves, everybody. And that is how endurance athletes and people who do endurance type of exercises, that's a way you have to think and you have to be okay with it. You can't be upset because we said that tree and now it's this tree, but it's not this tree. It's the next tree. You got to be okay with it. Here we go, passing a biker. Phew. Howdy. Everybody cruising along, sharing the outdoors with other people. Check this out. Look at this trail. Let's see what this trail says. This says, look at that. Coast to Crest Trail. That means that this trail we're on right now could take us all the way down to the ocean and then take us all the way back up to the mountains. And everybody, if you think about it, a couple 100 years ago, the Native Americans who lived here, they would travel along this area and they would meet people from the desert, would meet people from the ocean, and people from the mountains would get to get fish, and people from the ocean would get to get maybe like some nice furs or stuff. And everybody, they all worked together. And this area was a place where they would meet up and they would do trading and they would talk about the things they learned. So for all of human time, people have been doing endurance exercises and they've been doing it on this trail right here. You are on the trail that ancient humans would use to go and trade with their friends. And you can stop, everybody. Let's take a break. We're going to walk it off. So when we finish the run, we're not going to stop right away. We're going to keep walking. Let's walk over here. Look at this meadow. It's just looking beautiful. And look at this, everybody. Another picnic table. Oh my gosh, the picnic tables are abundant. So if you're looking to have a picnic, this might be a spot for you. All right, everybody, I'm going to sit down here, pick up my water, and wow, oh my gosh. Woo. Now you might want to do a heart rate check if you want to. Remember, you can't, you want to be nice and still. You don't want to be talking like I am. Look at my face all red. Can you see it? I got rosy cheeks. What's that all about? Does anybody know? Boom, 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 boom,
The
boom.
sun.
Well, the sun, part of it's probably the sun. Also, my body is trying to get the blood to circulate around and to support myself in cooling. And so what I've done is my body has started to sweat and my skin has started to sweat. My skin has started to go flush. And what that's going to do is with, again, the capillaries that are close to the surface, we want to help them with cooling. So they're going to expand so that they can try to get as much contact with this cooler air because, again, it's heating up, everybody. And now I wasn't sweating earlier. My body heated up as I was running because my muscles were producing energy. And that energy that my muscles were producing had a byproduct of that. And part of that is heat. Another byproduct of that is the carbon dioxide. So who heard me when I was breathing? And this is what it would have looked like. That's what it would have looked like if you would have seen me breathing. I take my breathing really seriously, especially when I feel myself getting tired. When I'm out in the ocean, sometimes I'm getting tired. I breathe like that because I want to get as much oxygen, and I want to get recovered as quickly as possible before the next wave covers me up and puts me underwater, someplace where again I cannot get any oxygen from. So everybody, the breathing was important, but I also know, and I know you did it too, that there were multiple times where you thought, I'm just going to stop. Nobody can see me right now. I'm going to maybe just stop. My camera might not even be on. But I know that there's some folks on here that despite having the camera on, they might not even have their name on the screen. They were still performing and working out alongside of us. And I think that is terrific. Everybody who, whether you were running along with us or if you were even just watching and cheering us on, being our fans, kind of saying, let's go, keep going, everybody. That is terrific. That's what a team is all about. Every one of you is a part of that team. And again, this is when you're doing an endurance challenge, you need a team. Let's get a time check, everybody. Let's have some water. The breeze feels great now because, again, my skin is wet from the sweat. The wind hits my skin and it makes my body feel a temperature that is cooler than the reality. So if the air is 75, pound seven or and seven, what's the and sign? Is it four? Okay. Um, again, when the air is blowing on your body, it could cool it down like maybe 10 to 20 degrees. That's what I was thinking. That's awesome. So if you think about it, everybody, when you might be hot, as you start to sweat, your body is trying to cool itself down in a way by kind of, it's not a trick, but it is kind of tricking itself into feeling a cooler temperature. Now, the other thing is when you start to sweat and when you're out and you're pushing yourself along, you have to start to also pay attention to how you feel in terms of your overall health. So if you start to feel like your stomach is upset, if you start to feel like you maybe have a headache, if you start to feel dizzy, if you start to feel like your muscles are getting very, very weak and you're feeling like you really need to take a break. Well, that would absolutely be a time to take a break. You do not want to push yourself so hard to where you start to develop like heat exhaustion and your body starts a process of um, of changing. It starts to change your body up and it starts to go through some unpleasant changes when you have heat exhaustion. I experienced that, remember everybody, about a year ago. I experienced heat exhaustion when I was building that waterfall. So let's drink some water, everybody, and let's get ready. We'll do a couple more exercises to cool down here, and then we'll do the breathe and monitor. Remember, everybody, fitness social tonight at 6 p.m. And then tomorrow we're gonna do race for autism. And I'm not sure if we're gonna stream it. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll get video, and then we'll show the video during the fitness social. That way you don't have to wake up early Saturday morning to go along. We could go along with like the GoPro. All right, everybody. So again, I have another tree over here. Let's see if I can use it without totally disappearing. And it looks like I got some opportunity here. So let's see. So I'm right in here. So again, with having a tree like this is something that's not going to move around. Doing the leg swings and things like that are going to be great. Another exercise that I would want to maybe work on is going to be getting some rotation. You know, when we just did a lot of forward movement there, we had our body just kind of doing the same thing, maybe 1,000 times. Well, with this tree, let's see if I can do this and show you. I'm going to put my hand on the tree right here and I'm going to lean into it. So here's my tree. And I can lean into it with two hands or I can lean into it with one hand. And I'm not going to do a push up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called a pull through. So I'm going to put my hands on the tree and I'm going to take one hand off and I'm going to reach like I'm reaching under my other arm. And I'm going to reach down and then I'm going to put this hand on this tree and then I'm going to switch it up. And then I'm going to put this hand on and I'm going to switch it up. Now I know the tree's not going to move, so I can really lean into it. And all right there, my back just gave a little bit, gave me a nice big feel. And because my body's already heated up and loosened up, this is going to actually help up with muscles that for me are really tight because I've been sitting at my computer for too much time. And so again, one hand's on the tree, the other arm's going under and across. And this is going to stretch out everything from my legs, behind my knees, all the way up through my back, and then again through shoulders, upper back. Let's go for 4 more. 4, 2, stop. Awesome. So again, having a tree like this can be really, really great because I know it's not going anywhere. Now you might have seen this before where people are stretching out their calves. Now down here you can see how I'm able to put my foot on the tree. And what's neat about this tree is it has some different tree roots. It's at different angles. So when I put my foot on this root right here, it's a little bit of a kind of a lower angle. Then if I put my foot on this one, it's a really steep angle. So what I like to do when I'm stretching out my calves like this is I'll put my foot maybe at the nice angle that I like it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of rock back and forth with it. And then in this case, I have the tree. I'm actually going to use the tree to allow me to go forward. So right here, I'm stretching this calf muscle in my right leg as I lean forward. My heel's not moving anymore from here. And so as I go forward from here, this muscle and the 3 muscles in the back of the leg, kind of two muscles, however you look at it, they're stretching up. And then as I kind of move out of it, I can let them relax into it, tighten them up, move out of it, relax. And so I can switch that up and I could do that. And you could do it on the steeper one. You're just going to want to find a good position for your foot. And you're just going to maybe lean in. And again, if I use the tree for this one, it's kind of lean and push away. A lot of times people do stretches and they just hold the stretch. They just hold it kind of for one time. And I like to move in and out of stretches and I like to hold stretches. So another one we can do is, and we don't get to see this very often, would be like an ankle roll. So if I have my foot right here, I could take my hands and I could actually move my foot around. Now you could do this also with your hands and your wrists, but with the ankle, I'm going to hold it here at the back of my shoe, hold it here kind of at the front. Thank you, Carla. And I'm just going to rotate this ankle around and around in a circle. And now the difference between me doing it with my hands as opposed to me doing it with my muscles is, well, think about it. I'm doing it right here using these muscles in my lower leg. Well, if I want to stretch those muscles and relax them and get them kind of, after the run or before the run kind of worked out, I might not want them to fire up as much. And so if I just relax my leg on my other leg and then I use my hands to move my own ankle around, I'm not having to use these muscles now. And I'm able to actually get my ankle into some nice positions. This one feels good. Turning it that way feels good. Turning it this way feels good, where I'm pulling up on my heel in the toes. They all actually feel really good. But if I were to do this on my own, there isn't going to be the stretch because what's going to happen again is those muscles are going to be firing up to move that foot around. And we all know that when one muscle fires up, the other muscles that are opposite, they don't just not exist. They actually are actively stretching and they're keeping things in balance. So when you're doing those ankle circles and you're using your hand to move it around, again, it's a good feeling. It should feel real smooth and relaxed. And if you're working with somebody in foot position, how we walk and strike the ground, maybe those tippy toe steps were very difficult. So if you're somebody who's like, you know what, those tiptoe steps when we did the run, those were pretty tough for me. Well, then think about actually doing some of those ankle roll type moves, maybe with a friend, where the friend's actually going to roll the ankle for you and move it around. And then practicing on your own some real like lifting for your feet up on your tiptoes pushing down into the ground, and then also picking your toes up to where you're just on your heels. And you could do that in a seated position, or you could do it standing. You can also do the one that I mentioned, which is like you're trying to dip your toe into the water, where you're just doing a slight toe tap, and then bringing the foot back. And those can be done as like an accuracy challenge with your feet, where you could take whoever you're working with, set up a few things on the ground that maybe squish or make a sound or just give a response when you push on them. And in that way, we're getting live feedback from a very like precise toe movement. Everybody, when you're running and doing endurance, you want your toes to be involved as much as the rest of your foot. Imagine, again, if we did not have any fingers, some folks can imagine that. If we did not have any fingers and we were using our lower part of our hand. Now, with our feet, in a lot of cases, we use more of that midfoot than we necessarily do the extended parts of our foot, our toes. So, um, great job, everybody. Great workout. I just saw a message from Bernie again. If you have holidays and things like that coming up, and you're not going to be able to make all of the workouts, that's okay. Remember, during these holidays and during the spring season, you want to make sure that we're staying focused on having that real good nutrition. When we're out at celebratory dinners and things like that, we want to be careful on what we're eating if we're eating too much. And if we're eating lots and lots of sugary things and carbohydrates and sodas, we really want to try to limit that as best we can. We're all doing a great job this year, everybody. 2025 is off to a great start. We're going into spring. The flowers are blooming. Everyone here is blooming. And let's have a sip of water, and I'll do the breather motto. Here we go. All right, everybody. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in the good. Breathe out the bad. Breathe in the happy. Breathe out the sad. Breathe in your best. And breathe out the worst. And breathe in your power so you reach your goals first. Nice job, everybody. Great job. Oh my gosh. Bernie's telling me I love it to go surfing. I will, Bernie. I'm going to get out there. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I might see you tonight on the Fitness Social. I hope so. I might see you tomorrow at Balboa Park. I hope so. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed the